Tuesday, and this is Trekland HQ, and we are live. Is this a Star Trek Voyager Renaissance or what? Episode 262 of Trekland Tuesdays Live. Boom. With me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you right from the heart of Portal 47 through everything Trekland for some clarity, sanity, and the big picture. And everything Star Trek. Hey, it's a summer week. Boy, I can sure tell it. Welcome to Trekland Tuesdays Live once again. If you are a regular, to jump in the chat room here and see what's going on. Everybody spout what you feel like spouting off. I'm Dr. Trek. I'm going to talk about a comment here. I've got a little something to say. And then we'll have a short break. I'll do the Parrot Analytics US ratings. And then I will, for then, jump into the chat. It feels like kind of a light week. I don't know. Maybe we're due for a little bit of relief after all the big, heavy events and the big, heavy headlines recently. I've got a fun topic to get to, but I want to say if you're new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, please do jump in the chat and introduce yourself and say where you're from. I will answer actual questions, and then we'll probably get off on some conversations after I do this kind of a soapbox topic, and then we look at the parrot ratings. So, okay. Just a reminder that if you're on Facebook, you will only see the Facebook comments in this combined chat. But if you're on Twitch or YouTube, you'll see everybody's. Okay. Yeah. So Strange New Worlds this week was an interesting show, a real thought-provoking show, but it didn't feel like it lit the world on fire compared to the pace they've been setting. Don't miss this week's episode, kids. Yeah. And make sure you stay all the way to the end, if you know what I mean. Meanwhile, I was distracted a little week. My I don't know about yours, but my Twitter, my socials, Facebook, my YouTube, everything blew up. And I realized after a day or two, it was funny, the things that were being retweeted and catching on, I guess you'd say going viral. If you're old school, internet's like, 2012. But it struck me a couple of days ago, it's like everything seemed to be Voyager. Now, when I say everything and I say Renaissance, we're talking relative here. Nothing's gonna compete for the attention that Strange New Worlds has grabbed in our Trek universe, in our Trek sphere here. But it struck me how it was like there was a little bit of for one thing, Roddenberry, Roddenberry.com, shared an innocent, just another fun thing, as they do, as everybody does. It was a highway sign with a choice, and Voyager out in deep space attempting to decide what way it wanted to go. One way saying, like an interstate sign with lanes. One side saying, cut 5 years off your 75-year journey this way, or side route, do a bit of sightseeing, maybe violate the Prime Directive a bit. Haha, it's a little cute bit for Voyager. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every other day reset seem to jump into this. I was like, okay. And not only did people feel compelled to jump in, people felt to come in and jump in and debate the Prime Directive and debate what happened in Caretaker and maybe debate other. It was like this simple little, little meme, little funny haha about the basic nature of Voyager and the way writers follow the Prime Directive, or the captains follow Prime Directive or not, and what would make sense to get home fastest. It was like this conduit. I don't know if you saw it. It's on the Roddenberry account. It's probably been retweeted a million times. It was at least in Twitter. I'm sure it was in Facebook and Instagram. And this was on the 10th. So, a whole 4 days ago. A Friday. Maybe it was a Friday thing. Hit everybody funny on going into the weekend. But I am amazed at how many times it was just retweeted. And then not only that, but how many times it engineered these whole comment threads. One of which I got into, where I repeated my, I'm so far over it. And I was never to the raving stage of today's trolls and bots. But back in the day, I thought, well, if they really wanted to not violate the Prime Directive, Janeway should just have them back out, grab the Maquis, stick them on her ship, and then back out the way they came. And if that meant tracking down the Caretaker and the Caretaker was in dire straits, do anything you can. Go tech some tech. anything you can to just back out the way you can. And all the machinations of the Okampa and getting assaulted by the Kazon and the caretaker's guilt over his past or his whole people. Remember the caretaker's actual species name? There's not a trivia quiz today prize, but you can guess it anyway. The whole thing about the race and the couple that were there, and he lost his female companion or his whatever the gender was, and he's alone atoning for the sins of how they abuse. That's all their thing. And then the Kazon coming in and the planet not having surface water. I mean, that's the bigger thing that Jerry and Michael and Rick have to answer for. I know, it was subterranean. But if you really interpret the Prime Directive the way it's supposed to be, how many times was the debate about walking away and leaving people to their fate through natural causes, especially if they were, pre-warp, as they were? But that's not what Starfleet captains do. From Kirk on down, they jump in and interfere and do whatever. And it's the whole Prime Directive debate. It's the whole Prime Directive joke and meme, and I know that. But all I've said was, Janeway is arguing that she's got to follow the Prime Directive and do X, where to me it always seemed following the Prime Directive was to do Y. Get your tail out of there and stop affecting both sides of a situation you walked into, you stumbled into. Actually didn't stumble into. One of the parties involved is the reason they're there, which is true. Anyway, it's a muddle, but it's always struck me that Janeway got far more, and she could have got her people home. Always felt like they didn't try hard enough to go home with as little a footprint as possible. Was it to the point of running in and declaring yourself not a god? Was it to the point of looking at you, Mintalkins, and who watches the Watchers? Was it to the point of beaming in and showing old home movies of your horrible years? I'm looking at you, Strange New World, Strange New Worlds, and Pike. I mean, and everything in between. That's what happens sometimes. I'm just saying that it was amazing how Janeway went that way to talk about her Prime Directive debate when it should have really been framed, whether she followed it or not, or whatever they were bound to do. Yeah. And then the cynic would say, well, they wouldn't have a series if they turned around and went home. I know. You wouldn't have episodes and movies. I'm just saying. I just always thought, it's the first thing I thought when I read the script 4 months before it aired. I thought, well, this is kind of a fallacy that she's worrying about the Prime Directive over here when it's really about this. But that's Voyager. That's the charm of Voyager. It was much funnier to laugh about the fact that they totally reshot all the location scenes for the Okampa City because they changed her hair. The hairstyle wedge that she eventually wound up with anyway. Oh, well, the 90s. Things like that never happen again. No, that was funny enough. I just, day after day after day, and it feels like it's been forever, but I guess it's only been 4 days. I saw that thread. People felt like they had to come in or they just commented on the nature of Voyager and writing and TV and the fallacy of trying to have a Prime Directive when no plot, no captain ever followed it. Or people were very straight on the nose about it. But that was one thing. But then, I don't know when it was posted. I guess it was posted the next day. And they've put these out before. But if you're not hooked in at all to YouTube or seeing YouTube shares on your Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, this account, Gazelle Automations, they've done some fun stuff. They did a next generation clip as if it was done in good old Filmation style from 1973. The animated series, the original Star Trek, the animated TAS from 73 and 74. And we all know the limitations of 70s. It's sad that people talk about TAS as in the limitations of, the animation for the day, but at the same time, not visually, but conceptually, Dorothy was pushing that little Saturday morning cartoon to be as not like a Saturday morning cartoon as possible. And when you think about everything from euthanasia to actual death on screen, not your typical Saturday morning fare. It was not Lassie's Rescue Rangers or even the Rescue Rangers. No, it was not Scooby-Doo even, and it certainly wasn't the Brady Kids. But when you're talking about, licensed content. But TAS unfairly sometimes gets a bum rap for that. And we totally base it on the animation style. But that said, if you remember TAS and Filmation, and if you remember even the Nickelodeon reruns, even before it was all brought out of the barren lands and put back on square one, made canon again, so they could sell the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the upreses. What, about 15 years ago? And ever since then, TAS has had this renaissance and been back under the microscope. And yes, our buds, Aaron and Rick, redid the animation. Still back there? It's back there. The animation guidebook, which has all been great. And a lot of the stories, a lot of the whatever has been debunked. But boy, these guys at Gazelle Automations, guys, gals, peeps, I shouldn't prejudge anything. This is awesome. The TNG edition was wonderful, but I've said the phrase knocked it out of the park so much lately. It's trite. They are wowing the world. I don't know of a fan that doesn't come across this, whether you enjoyed the animated series or it's an eye roller or whatever, but the crossover of doing Voyager in animated style with all the tropes, all the animation shortcuts, even dirty aliased the layer of animation with the shuttlecraft dragging, and you can see some dirty spots behind it. It's amazing, but the way the animations go and the running with the arms up forward, the whole thing. And it's a voice track from a Voyager episode, minus the original music, with the animated series music cues. That sound, they had like 47 different cues, and after a while you knew all of them. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Okay, you need to see it. It's a whole 5 minutes 41 seconds. You can find it on Gazelle Automations. It's just Star Trek Voyager, the animated series, and that has melted down the internet. Everybody was talking about that, and it's cute because the title card is a copyright Filmation Associates Norway Productions 1996 instead of 73. It's just amazing. You have to go see it. You have to go find it. I will even, if somebody hasn't done it already. Did you just do this, John? Yeah, everybody's doing it. My gosh, I'll get into. It's hysterical, but it's the loving care. It's what we can do now, which is amazing. But the loving care of all the tropes of Voyager. The bottom line is, of course, is not about Filmation and that style. The bottom line is the clip they chose, which is, of course, the climax of Threshold. So yeah, you get Chakotay and Tuvok and Neelix, and a couple of random aliens are scattered through the show like they would do on the animated series, which I love. So you have the gray-skinned Andorian from the altered universe of yesteryear, looks like. But no, you wind up with the lizard babies or the amphibian babies at the end with the yuck yuck ending. You have to see it. So thank you guys for posting beating me to it here and putting the links in. It's such a, will bring a smile to your face no matter what is going on in the world. And these days we need a smile. You don't have to have known the animated series. You may just have a vague notion, but you totally get it. And then the amazing thing is, so many people commented in the threads, and when you see it shared online, it almost redeems Threshold. And not that Threshold, I saw someone say one time, if you just didn't have the last 5 minutes of Threshold, it was a very well done spooky horror story. It was a Brannon weird shit special from the best of the TNG days. And it is. It's just that last thing with the lizard babies. And what did Paris and Janeway do here? What are we leaving behind? Thank you, Doctor, for having a process to bring them back to their human DNA, to their genome. But people keep commenting on how maybe if you viewed Voyager and maybe a lot more of the other episodes, maybe a lot more of Star Trek, through that animated series filter, maybe some things could be redeemed. If there was something to be redeemed in Threshold, that last 5 minute bit, this is perfect. And that's what this is, including the knockouts and the whiteouts and the weird space, all the little shortcuts that Filmation had to use. With imagination, though, with imagination. And it certainly was colorful. That's one thing you have to say about it. But it was the early 70s. So, the great animation melting pot. I don't know. So gang, this has been felt like an off week for Star Trek, for me and Star Trek. On the home front, it's been insanely busy. So between those ships passing in the night, it just dawned on me that I don't think it's a week for going deep thoughts. I think it's a week for celebrating, for whatever reason, the franchise gods seem to align. And at least on my feed, apparently, and probably a lot of other people's, we had a little Voyager renaissance this week. I don't know. What did you think? Are there other things in the zeitgeist that I'm missing about Voyager, or the reasons why? I don't know. Again, the Strange New World episode was kind of serious. It wasn't quite as much fun as, well, obviously, as some of the other recent episodes. Even the ones that weren't fun ostensibly had moments. This one seemed very earnest and on the nose, and whoa at the end. We'll have a little break next week. Next week we'll have a little bit more levity returning, and boy, wait till I say this week, tomorrow night's overnight, this week's show, Thursday. You don't want to miss it, as if I had to tell you that. That's my review. That's what's going to pass for my early review. And Stranger Worlds is going to revisit, I should say, one of the Trek tropes that became a meta joke in Next Generation until they themselves did it. So you've already seen some of this. It's about space pirates. So you just make sure you watch it all the way through to the end, okay? Yes. Well, why don't we move on? I will. Let's wrap it up here. For everybody who is watching us later on right now, I wish you could join us live, because we're about to dive into the chat here in a minute. You're seeing us later, and you'll miss that until you can. 2 little bits of housekeeping, though. I have a big trip coming up. We're going back for SoonerCon and our week in Oklahoma, as I do every season. So not every season, not since pandemic. So for the first time since 2019, some of you newer folk haven't seen me do this. But next week, we will have Trekland Tuesdays live. On Monday, it'll be a special edition of Trekland Mondays live. Same warp time, same warp channel. Alrighty? On Monday, look for that. And then the week following, we're going to bump it to Thursday. So next 2 weeks, next week, Monday the 20th. And then the week after that, it will be on Thursday, the 30th. Alrighty, so I hope you can follow us along. If that ruins your schedule for the week with conflicts, sorry about that. Don't do that very often. But I have special cards and everything, so don't worry. I have title cards. So having said that, everybody, I'm going to look forward to today's chat. I'm hoping things are going to be a little more lighthearted this week. Lots of heavy stuff going by in the news outside, and a heavy subject last week where we wound up with. I don't know how many of you saw where the show was going. Had any hint? Some people had hints of where it was going, but not to what extent. So we can talk about that too. I look for real questions, but I'm sure we'll get off on that. Okay. So got that to look forward to. Thanks for joining me here. Did it seem like a weird Voyager in the air week for you? Let me know. Meanwhile, I want to welcome one of our new Patreons, Andrew Jasimski. Thank you, Andrew, for jumping in. But yes, I do have the TTL Club as my simple Patreon. We have 2 levels. And so I do want to thank once again Diana Hopkins, Robin Wilson, Lawrence Todd, Anne Marie Siegel, Keith Rombach, Justin Porteous, Nathaniel Robinson, Blaze K, and now Andrew Jasimski. Thank you, guys and gals and peeps, along with our live wires. There we go. Rusty Harold, Halbert Goodjohnson, Alan Hohensey, J.R. Poole, Byron Bailey, Dave Gregory, Gay Clevin Lindstrom, and Casey Shafsky with a little extra. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming in and helping us out. Looking for some more growth pangs coming up as soon as I survive these next couple of weeks. If you're interested and you want to help us out a little bit, it's a very simple Patreon. It's $5 or $10 a month. You can throw in more, and some do, but I keep it simple. because there's lots going on at Trekland, and I'm just fulfilling it with a shout out. Thank you much. And access to some of our early Portal 47 backstage interviews. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. And hey, if you are Vegas bound and you haven't thought about it yet, we only need 6 to make this one day. We've done it before, but of course it's been 3 years. One day trip out to the Valley of Fire on Con Eve, the full day before the con starts on Thursday. I still call it STLV. It's still Star Trek Las Vegas. There was never any implied licensing in the hashtag. So yeah, it's the creation. GeekNationTours.com is where you can go to find out about it, or come to LarryNemechek.com and click on the big button row of tours coming up, because this is Wednesday, August 24th. It's a one day. It's about 7 hours. It's an hour out to Valley of Fire from Vegas. And we leave early because it gets hot in August in the desert. But we come back by 2 or so. So you can recover, and you're good for Con Eve events like Landing Party. Okay. I really urge you to go out there. We've got folks in the chat, I'm sure today, that have been out with us before, much less the big Geek Nation tour coming in July next year. You can look at that all in the same place at my homepage, as well as the Great Bird Origins tour. This is almost made. It's August. It's the weekend before Vegas, but it's that way because it's the end of the centennial year of Gene's birth on the 19th. 20th and 21st is the weekend. We're going to go to some live places around town. I had some confusing links and information on the page if you went to look at it. It's been cleaned up now. I just need to update the photo, but other than that, it's all good. Rod's going to join us for part of the weekend. We'll go around to the places that made the Great Bird, that made Star Trek. It'll be a different kind of tour. And one thing we will do is, of course, be at the Paramount/Desilu lot on one of the days, and some surprises still to come. There's some souvenir swag that come with it. Check it out if you would at LarryNemechek.com. That's happening there. And sure. What else is happening? There's a new Trek Files up because it's Tuesday. If it's Tuesday, this must be Trek Files and 2 for Tuesdays. This week, we are back visiting with the great Michael Westmore again. Not so much on the creative, alien-y, cool side of makeup, on the ups and downs of running a makeup department, starting with a memo from the 60s, and then Mike's memories, expanding it to the 80s and 90s. You don't want to miss it. It's another 8th season, yikes, episode of the Trek Files, very short. We're all like 20 minutes, at the Trek Files on Facebook, where we have the document, as we do every week. Podcast.roddenberry.com will get you to all the Roddenberry podcasts. But of course, Trek Files is available at iTunes and Spotify and Libsyn and yada, yada, yada. All righty. Hey, everybody. If you're not aware, you can find me online at Larry Nemechek on Twitter. Larry Nemechek's Trekland. Someday I will update this. Is the YouTube and the Facebook and the Instagram, if you would. Like and subscribe us on YouTube, please, and thank you. Portal47.net, though, if you want to jump in with the Portales for a mini-con all year long, every month on several fronts. And I do need to tell Portales that are watching that the guest night did not come together before the Oklahoma trip. So this Wednesday is going to be an off night, and we're going to reschedule the June guest night right at the end or right at the beginning of next month, as we flip into the next month, okay? But it is on track. I'm just waiting to hear back some folks, and we're compressing the schedule. So I'm trying to keep all my attention traveling with a larger party than usual. I'm just trying to make allowance. Anyway, that is it, folks. If you're leaving us right now, but hang on if you're not. If you're with us live, don't worry. We'll be right back after just this tiny pause. But until then, if you are leaving us, please stay healthy. Not a week goes by, but I don't have someone in my orbit. 1 or 2 people are still coming down with COVID, so it's still worth guarding against. Do all the things. Stay woke, check your sources, and of course, trek well, everybody. All right, not much of a freeze there. Let's look at the parrots. So if you are new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, Parrot Analytics is a system to replace The Nielsen ratings that we used for years still do for all the terrestrial, commercial-based systems of measuring popularity, so they can set the ad rates. Digital streaming made all that moot. And Parrot is one of the answers who came along to try to get a handle to compare popularity apples to apples, oranges to oranges, kumquats to kumquats. So 10, 12 years ago or so, a company out of New Zealand went global, measuring many countries, not just the US. And they came up with an analytic, a formula to measure popularity given what you can see online from studios, from fans, from critics, and all of the buzz, basically the viral buzz, retweets and reposts and reactions, comment threads, all of that, and of any kind. It's called an average demand expression. That's their algorithm, and they put this up. They changed the format of how they rank things. Now it's all judged to an average show, and there are hundreds of series now on the air in the state, or not on the air, on streaming and terrestrial in the US and around the world. There are different, every country gets its own ranking. They do this, the top 10, well, they're all ranked. They compile reports quarterly, but I've been following the weekly top 10 in the US since a couple of weeks after Voyager premiered. So almost 5 years now, 4.5 years. And this week, if you've been watching us lately, this week, it has been still good news for Strange New Worlds, which has been in the top 10, something that Discovery and Picard could never all claim, and something the animateds never have. But Strange New Worlds has been 4th or 5th. It slipped to 6th this week, and about a half a point on the factor versus the average popularity of a show. What I mean is, top 10 here, boom. Stranger Things has blown people away as far as their mnemonic. It's 212.9 times more popular than an average show. One of the rare times the last couple of years that anything got above 100. It's blowing people out of the water as far as the reaction online for the average demand expression. This is a weekly frame that goes basically from Sunday to Saturday. Then number 2 is The Boys, way back at 53, and then you've got the clump behind that. Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Our Flag Means Death, and then Strange New Worlds at 32.3. It's down, but it's down a half a point from last week, and last week's was kind of a downer, didn't engender a lot of buzz. I won't spoil if you haven't seen it. Then you've got Clone Wars, Love, Death, and Robots, Moon Knight. Love, Death, and Robots isn't a series. It's just an anthology of like 5, 10, 15, 20-minute animations in the grand style of the old animation festivals that used to go around, and independent animators, some of them, very pungent, kind of like almost like somewhere between Love American Style and The Twilight Zone for animated shorts. Moon Knight and Boba Fett round out the top 10. That's the digitals only. Overall, Stranger Things blew everybody away to be number 1 overall, with SpongeBob a distant second at 74, and then The Boys at 53, then Breaking Bad, Saturday Night Live, which is into reruns, Better Call Saul, Game of Thrones, Sesame Street, and then Mandalorian and Obi-Wan at 9 and 10 of the overalls. So 4 of the top 10 digitals, I think we're in the summer doldrums with a lot of the series and they're in between, so the digitals are taking over that space. And just for those of you who ask, this week's number on Strange New Worlds was 32.3 times more popular. That's the factor. The 30 days trend line is 27.1 for Strange New Worlds. This is all still in the outstanding upper 2.5% of the shows they measure. The demand for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the demand line is down a little. It's still 203% over where it was a month ago at launch. The demand is still going up. It's just down a little from the hot demand a week ago. I'm going to say a slightly cooler episode might be responsible for that. So Strange News is not going anywhere. It's still doing just fine as parrots measure it. So I don't know. We could certainly talk about that. I'm gonna have some news, some Trekland news here though. Maybe this week, maybe on the Monday edition next week though, about something else I'm insanely gonna do. But more on that later. I guess that does it. What surprised you? Did I stir anything up? Who's with us today? Let's see. Here's where we back scroll. Here's probably where Christoph does the timestamp. And we'll see what's going on and who's here today. I'm looking at everybody. Good to see everybody. Howdy, howdy, and hi. I'm looking for new names and faces, especially. That's an interesting way to put it, JR, but okay. Deep in the heart of Trekland. Okay. Hi, here's a new folk. Hey, Matt. Glad to have you with us. It's a good bunch of folks out here. I stumble in and out occasionally myself, and I don't do too bad. But we have a very good chat community out here going. It's been over 5 years, folks. Yes. So Matt, I'm just curious. Somewhere along the way, tell me how did you find us? How did you find me? I'm just curious, and where you're from, how things are with you. You'll see everybody else is reporting in. We get the weather reports. We get the political campaigns. We get everything here, but it's global. Everything I do, I try to do it live at a time when we can be global for a big chunk of the world that represents the Trek community anyway. So good to see you, and thanks for making it by. What's going on here? Hey, Garrett. How's Lake Charles? Hope everything's going well with you, man. Everybody, Cyphicon, check it out in the spring. Just had the edition a couple months ago, but the 22 edition. Everybody's having their comeback editions. That's why I can't wait to get back to my homies at SoonerCon. Let's see. Oh, Cairo. Yeah, now you're coming and going. Yeah, you're one of 4 or 5 people I know recently. Somewhere, some people I know fairly well in my Facebook and Twitter. Seems like Facebook is more the place where this turns up. People don't want to spend time in pretty Instagram or quick flash Twitter. It's like Facebook is the place for people hang out. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. Here's a twitch. Hello, Valoran. Coming over from Twitch. Do we know you by another account name? But it's good to see you over there. I guess you figured out that I don't do the Twitch thing since I'm multi-streaming and people on Twitch expect to be talked to constantly, and I don't do that. I put it off. So here we are. But I bet other people know you, so maybe it's not a surprise. Okay. Same thing with Matt. Apparently, you all know each other. You have me at a disadvantage, but that's good. Oh no, Carl. I mean, stay all the way till the. Okay, as if I have to say this. Just make sure you're paying attention in the last 2 or 3 minutes before the credits roll. Yeah, there's no ending Marvel scene. There's no I'll give him 10 more minutes airplane at the end. That's not what I meant, and thank you for that. No, I mean, just stay until the basic end of the show, as always. Which, who is not going to do that anyway? I know, I just felt like it. I'm just going to say that I was smiling for hours after I watched my screener a week ago, and I could not wait until the world catches up with this. Have I raised the bar too high? I don't think so. I just can't wait for all the blown minds. And no, it's not James T. Kirk coming aboard already. It's not that. Here we go. See, well, apparently, Matt, everybody knew you besides me, so I'm glad you're here. Too late. I already used that line, and so did everybody else. John X, is this early? Well, I had hopes of actually being straight up on the hour today, but of course that didn't happen. But the warp core is bright all day and night. Yeah. As an Okie, we kind of hated doing that. But anyway, uh, oh, you are done with COVID. Hooray. Good for you. Good for you, everybody. We're going to have a society watching for the effects of long COVID for 10, 15 years. That's basically what's the haunting going on right now. And now I have people around me who are going to be having medical procedures and surgeries in a few weeks and months. And I have to, hopefully, nobody has, even if it's not debilitating or life threatening, it's just, what a pain. So there's lots of people still masking up to try to protect themselves, or else they don't want to totally be stuck at home like it's April 2020. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, I tweeted out to most of the cast about the Filmation thing, but that original cartoon bit was just something I saw and I went, haha, okay, fine. But there was something about it that just seemed to set the world on fire. I don't know what it was. People just felt the need to drop everything and make fun of Voyager lovingly and or debate the Prime Directive. It's amazing to me. What stops. Yes, Dan, I did. That's true. Did that blow up? I was looking to things that really, really blew up. Although I did see that. But here's the thing, Dan. Who's going to say no? No, I don't care. No, I don't want to make that. Who's going to say that? Of course, everybody's going to say, hell yeah. Because you never know where things are. 20 years ago, we just all go, of course. Today, hey, all bets are off. We live in this insane, different scale, size. What's the platform? It's like never say never. Never say never on something. Who knows? Odds aren't, but what you have to structure it like how much of it is a fun idea and what does it actually look like in real life as a produced show? Is it a one-off special though? But yes, people are weighing in it. And of course, Robbie waited on it. No, I'm so over this. No, this is the guy that did the Tom Paris plate. Are you kidding me? He would be up for doing lizard babies. I'm kidding. Yeah. And there we go. That's there's the status on the which way do we go Voyager. Straight home and cut some time off. Everybody wishing Rusty well. Yes. You're one of them, Rusty, that I was mentioning. You got it, Zahir, the Naseen. Yeah. Although it's spelled I think it's spelled there's no S. It's spelled Nacine, I think. Like Racine, Wisconsin, only Naseen. It might be an E before the final E, but I have to check that. The Prime Directive is the whole reason why we have Where Are the Aliens right here on Earth. What? Having a Diet Coke, no Splenda yet. Oh, JR, you are I missed the setup for this. I know what Diet Coke Splenda is, and if you're making a Dr. Trek reference, I appreciate it. Yeah. Prime Directive, that'll never stick. Wonderful throwaway. Well, the original reason for the Prime Directive is because Star Trek was conceived during Vietnam and the folly of interfering. Originally it was interfering in other cultures. Then it kind of very quickly grew to, especially when they aren't capable of looking after their own interests and using the warp zone as the threshold, easy threshold. Hair issues. What about Pike's Peak? Yeah, the Pike's Peak hair thing is starting to take off. Have I changed my hair? No, it's the same toupee. No, it's not. Now, I do have Mountain Boy. I'm getting my hair cut in about 2 hours because I realized it's gotten really hot here in the summer. So, oh yes. Yes, they started off filming the wedge, the simple basic wedge that Kate wound up with is her preferred hair. And it's like Avery wanting his shaved look, not the hair that he wore. They were so worried about looking different than his Hawk character from Spencer for Hire that they did that. They were so worried about Janeway, they wanted to look more maternal, but because it's just the weirdness. And I'd always thought it was Rick, but apparently it was UPN execs weighing in on the hair thing. People could. I was laughing about this at some point. People can do a whole chapter from day one. Day one, we could do an entire reference book about Star Trek and hair, including recently. But yes, they had to go back and shoot location scenes to get rid of her wedge and put it up in a bun. And before her hair grew long enough, they had an artificial bun. It looks very tight and different in the pilot if you watch. Mm-hmm. Glitter in my hair. Glitter in your hair. Ah, hello, Adam. Um, he Anson mounted it. Yeah. Yeah, the TIS Next Gen video is great as well. But there's some when you're going to drag lizard babies in, it doesn't, I mean, everybody just get out of the way. Voyager for once gets to say, "Hey, Next Gen, hold my beer." Yeah. Yeah, nor was it Darkwing Duck. Was Darkwing Duck on Saturday morning in the 70s? I know you guys are coming at it from rerun era, I think. The animations were brilliant. Oh, Justin, have we got a dyed in the world TAS Defender? Yeah, it is what it is. I don't think about it as being sad little animation. It was some of the best animation of the time. It wasn't cinematic. It was, cheap TV limited animation, but they were pushing the envelope wherever they could. Gene and Dorothy were pushing it, especially in the beginning where they didn't get to see finished episodes before they aired, which we've done Trek Files on that with Dorothy. Rest in peace. Yes, the Alan Dean Foster, basically novelizations of those 22-minute episodes that expands them. One, is it the Slaver Weapon? That is an entire book. One half-hour episode is an entire book. It's not even like 4 or 5 collected. Yes. Oh, Christoph, we'll try. We will try to forgive you. See. Mm-hmm. Oh, see, I've got to listen to Delta Flyers sometimes. They went a whole lot more now. Carrie Cluggage had so many notes about Harry wanted to change it. So it was Carrie McCluggage. Okay. Carrie, who was also a friend of the show, who was interviewed in Center Seat, and who is the reason that Scott Bakula was Captain Archer. It was like almost a done deal. And we had the highest profile actor coming into a captain's role that we'd ever had. You're not late, he's early. Well, in a manner of speaking. How to find it on YouTube? I think everybody put the James. I think everybody. Hello, James McDaniel, James Monroe. I think you've been on with us before, but hello. And I think all the links are down here before. Yeah, some people, Dave, I saw some people in the original YouTube comments wondered who the random green alien was. And I said, that's EM3 Green from Jihad. Having an episode named Jihad on Saturday morning, imagine that. In 73, after the going into the Arab-Israeli war, I wonder if that was, I should check up on whether that was cause for consternation. Everybody posting the link there. I agree too. Maybe it's just the source material. Maybe it wouldn't have worked as well with something besides Threshold and Cairo. But in this case, yes, the animated Voyager is even better than the animated TNG. But it reminds you how TNG and Voyager needed to lighten up just a little bit. Yep, Carl, I agree. I'm sure if they've done TNG and this, I'm sure. What would I saw somebody saying, what episode should DS9 do? First thing I thought of course, was Move Along Home. But we'll see. We will see. Yes, and then there was this Trek movie story with an interview with the creator. And you would hope so. You would hope. What would be great is if they ever revive short treks or need something else. Right now they've got 2 animated entries, but if there's ever a need for something else, this would definitely be a team that they might reach. I say they, that Alex and Secret Hideout might reach out to. Mm-hmm. What we left behind in animation? Woof. I don't know. Hello, Tanner. A weird shit special. Hey, that was Jerry Taylor's word for Brandon's, or cause and effect, and the fish monks from Schisms that weren't supposed to be seen in the fog, but they were seen without fog. Yeah. Brandon was the weird. Ron was the Klingon guy, and Brandon was the weird shit guy. Those were the simpler days. Hey, Mark, are you late? Yes, please leave. No admittance for you. No, pull up a chair, as you've already done, I'm sure. Yay. You've got to say you don't have any problem with threshold. You couldn't just done us some Morse code, but okay, fine. Fine. Oh, Sophia. Strange New Worlds left you a bit sad, won't watch it again soon. Do you mean the series, or do you mean that episode? That episode can take it out of you at the end. Okay. Thank you for answering me before I even asked the question. Yes. This is what I'm saying, Dan. This is what I'm saying. I'm waiting for the world to melt down over the ending. The last Strange New Worlds was a classic Trek downer ending. Well, Trek, that's the criticism of Trek, is that there aren't that many downer endings. And some of them, you've got Private Little War, and you've got I Can Do It. Yeah. Pale Moonlight. What's the downeriest Voyager? Enterprise was a lot down after 9/11. Justin, yes, you really should get to SoonerCon one year because it's on. So are you in Wichita or are you in Dallas? Where are you, Justin? Star Trek anime. Da-dum, da-dum. Does that mean, Andrew, does that mean Larry won't be at Trek Fest in Riverside, Iowa, since it's at the same time? Well, it means that Larry won't be in Riverside, Iowa for Trek Fest because he hasn't been invited, number one. But number two, if it's the same weekend as SoonerCon, I will always be at SoonerCon, even when they're not giving me. They always have me. I'm a rabbit's foot or something with my homies, I think. Thank you. I can always count on you, Christoph. Chat dive marker. Okay. Hey, Mark, once again. You ask if anyone in the DST Germany fan group knew how to get in contact with Massive Event Showmasters to get me invited. The admin was less than helpful and then rude. I am currently looking for a way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anybody to be treated rudely on my behalf. That's not fun. I'm kind of perplexed that they would be rude about anybody saying, "Hey, how about a guest?" Okay. How many members do they have in that group? Matt, you just signed up for what? Just signed up for what? My news list or what? Yes, Cairo, you're pretty quick on the ball, huh? A Trek Files starting with Uhura's fingernails and ending with moving Andorian antenna. Hey, where else but in the world of makeup for Star Trek? Absolutely. Um, yes. Yes, I heard this about a month ago. One of our art folks that works on the show told me that Jonathan was going over to film that they were like about the last, they were about 2/3 of the way through a month or two ago. Strange New Worlds is filming the last episode of season 2. Discovery is going ahead with season 5. Yes, they're all taking their breaks in different times. It's so confusing. I so miss the old days of everybody taking their break together with the rest of the industry. Oh, don't worry. For sure in the airports. For sure in the airports. Oh, the parrot marker, former chat diver. Yes, come on, Christoph, you can do better than that. Don't let it happen again. Uh, S&W, what's S&W with you? Bad, yeah, Tobias. And of course, we never have puns and bad jokes here. I remember when we just used to have the guts to call a dad joke a bad joke. When did they be? Because we said them when we were kids. Those were like Jack and Jill Humpty Dumpty weekly reader jokes. Just because we all grew up and like they didn't come along in the generations after us, really? Let's see. Superheroes and strange news. What else is new? Right. Oh, hi, Rose. You want to get into some Zoom meetings and have some new friends? I'm sure there's, the virtual meetings have declined since people have come out of their bunkers, but they're still out there. Surely you can get into some. Oh, the TNG, yes, the pink Borg cube. That was pretty funny. Yeah, a little insider bit. Now, what is this, Dan? You helped a stunt guy from the most recent episode of S&W earlier today, purely by helped him with his IMDb. Now the real Larry scrolling back markers. This is going to be like littered with all the line signs. There you go. Hey, William, so you're coming after all. Good deal. Good deal. I can't wait to see you and everybody else at SoonerCon again. Yay. Oh, Matt. Duh. Okay. Well, thank you. So, yes. So Matt has a not live stream. Matt has a YouTube video interview show, and you had Mohammed Noor a couple of weeks ago, and I'm in the pipeline. We just did a show, so thanks again, Matt. Sorry for going brain dead there. Oh, an actual question, John. I can count on you and 2 others. What was my impression of Voyager Threshold when it came out versus now? I think the whole thing about the Janeway Paris babies thing in the sand pit, I know it had to strike me as weird and bizarre and odd, but I think I was more concerned with the logic of going warp 10 and you exist in all dimensions, and the end result of that is you become an amphibian with detachable tongue. I think I remember going, really? Because that seemed like a throwback in evolution, not a. I guess it's kind of like, well, if they're all a bunch of Organians, it's kind of hard to depict that dramatically, unless you're inhabiting a body. I don't know. I guess Trefane and his bunch were an easy cast at the time, but it would have been weird to see Janeway and Paris running around with beards and robes. I remember being more concerned with how hard it would be to dramatize a bizarro effect from going warp 10 than worrying about the tag. But that said, after it aired, the world kind of picked up on that. Like, wait, what just happened? You all are upset about Janeway and Chakotay measuring a bathtub, and this just happened over here with a monkey watching? Right. Yes. Totally. Hey, Christian, good to see you. So, John, that was probably a wimpy answer, but that's, you got to remember that back in the day, we were having an episode a week of dramas, live action, 2 a week. So, and everything was coming together. But I remember thinking, oh, okay, Brand's gone back to a weird shit story. That's cool. Yeah, I just kept thinking, really, warp 10? That's what you get when you go warp 10, really? After all the buildup. Hey, Carl, I hope I will. They've had me the last several years, and if Blake is still the talent person, I'm hoping to be. Hey, Captain. Okay. 37 Celsius. What is that Fahrenheit? Somebody will do the math for me. I know that, what? 0 Celsius is 32. And then there's an 82 factor multiplier divisor in there. So you're either in the 90s or you're at 100. So how do we cope with temperatures that high in LA? Well, it's gotten hotter. When we moved to LA in the 90s, a lot of the older apartments had no air conditioners, or they might have had one window unit, inefficient, but you only needed your air conditioning 2 or 3 times a year in the old days, which was why it was such a wonderful Mediterranean climate and people loved it here. But between the air pollution and the overbuilding and the cars on freeways and then global warming, it's progressively gotten hotter and hotter and more humid, I should say. I'm still mad about the humidity part. But that's what we do. That's how we cope. Find the shade. Oh, Melanie, who knows? Somebody may have had a bad day that day. I don't know. Oh, hi. Nadim, hi. It has been a while. So, Nadim, were you a lifer or have you been a TTLer? But I know I've seen you before. It's good to see you again. Good. There we go. Ah, Robin. Okay. You're actually twitching. Okay. Got you. Well, it's good to see you, and thanks again for Patreoning with us. Sad that Strange New Worlds doesn't have an MCU end credit scene. Yes. Okay, Dan. Don't pile on too much here, but you're agreeing with me. Fans will freak when they see the end of episode 7. Yes. I said a week ago, kids, whatever crazy thing you're asking to see in Star Trek, when you address the creators and all the shows, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Thank you. John says 38C is roughly body temperature, 98.6, 98.7. What is that song? So, Captain Calvin, there is an American folk song, or maybe, excuse me, maybe it's from a Broadway show. Deep in the heart of Texas. The stars are bright. The moon at night, the stars are bright. Bum, 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 deep in the heart of Texas. Da, dun, 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 bum, 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 deep in the heart of Texas. So, excuse my little Okie adding it to be Texas. Anyway, so that was a parody on. No, the stars at night are big and bright. Bum, 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 deep in the. Yes, that's it. Okay. Oh, you wrote a parody, The 12 Days of Xmas. Something tells me, Tobias, that you're not the first one to do a 12 Days of Xmas over the years. Famous or not, stuck away in some obscure fanzine from 1976. Something tells me there's been more than one edition, but I would love to see yours, of course. Well, this is the thing, Captain Calvin. A lot of people don't have a problem. Oh, wait a minute. John always comes over for DST. Okay. I'm amazed they get John to leave St. George and get out of Utah. If I didn't see him at Salt Lake the last few years, I wouldn't see him. He comes to LA and he burrows down and does work. Uh, Seeing lizard babies like Muppet babies. Oh, well, you're welcome, Carl. Well, I'll give him another 10 minutes. That was, to me, that was the original. Okay, it is an E. It's not like Racine, Wisconsin, but it is two E's. Got it, got it, got it. Yeah, and I certainly didn't come up with, whoops, I certainly didn't come up with that. That's an internet thing already, but it's exploding and growing. Let's see. Yep. Never watched Spencer or Hawk. Was it good? Neither did I. I never watched either show. Robert Urich was Spencer for Hire. He was a detective in Vegas, I think. Or no, that's Dan Tana, his show. He was a detective in Vegas. Anyway, I never watched either one either. But when I would read about Avery, I would see the pictures and, oh, this was his character in Hawk that was a spinoff of his character originally being in Spencer for Hire. And they would do a dollar sign on the Spencer. So, yes, there you go. You know what? It's amazing. You can kind of like just live in the culture even before the internet drowned you, and you could know all about series that you never paid attention to, much less now. What? Actual questions here? What's my favorite TV series starring a pre or post Trek actor? You mean somebody who at some point in time was a regular on a Trek show and had another one? Starring a pre or post Trek. I'm like riffing through the casts. Well, it's not fair to say Night Court with Brent as the Wheeler, as what's his name, Wheeler, the West Virginians who sounded like Okies. It was a ratings flop, but I thought it was a quality show. But Michael Pillar's legend that lasted for half a year and is the reason why Janet worked at Voyager, because things shuffled. And John Delancey played the mad Hungarian. He was like a Tesla type character, but he was the sidekick inventor to Richard Dean Anderson. Oh, my God, I remembered his name. Richard Dean Anderson's later Wild West character whose adventures had been blown up. When I was a kid, I actually liked watching Barbary Coast with Shatner as he was the disguise guy. It was like a retread of Wild Wild West with Doug McClure and Shatner being Robert, Wild Wild West. The adventuring guy and the sidekick who does disguises, and Shatner was the sidekick who did disguises. I mean, but it wasn't on long enough to really be a huge hit. Okay, what are we thinking of here? Yes, Ryan's Hope with Kate. That was my no. Oh boy, I never really watched Benton, or I could have knocked out two right there, right? Renee and Johnny or Ethan. I tried to watch Quantum Leap. I know I should have enjoyed it. I just never made it a habit to watch it. For Scott, I don't know that I'm sure I would if I really sat down and applied myself here. TV series. Wow. Okay. I don't know. How about you? How about anybody? That would be a good conversation starter for your next Trek party. So sorry, Zahir. I guess I failed. I failed the trivia today. Oh, Natalie, don't worry. I will never confuse Darkwing Duck with Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Yeah. Oh, was it? Okay, there was just one, David. So maybe I'm thinking incorrectly. And why Eye of the Beholder with the Lactrans, he felt the need and the bandwidth, where he found the stuff to expand that into a full novel. Was that the only one? I'm doing it off the top of my head. I haven't looked at them in decades. What I remember is the moment at the beginning, one of the things he used to fluff things out for a longer. At one point, Kirk and Spock are looking at historical blueprints of early science fiction projections of the future, and they're in a museum looking at the Franz Josef blueprints of the Enterprise and thinking, my goodness, this 20th century American was remarkably prescient in his projections of what a future starship would look like. And it was like, it was meta before I knew the word meta. I remember that moment, and that's like the only thing I remember from the animate from the Blish. I mean, from the Alan Dean Foster logs, the animated series novels. The stories in TAS outshone the animation, but it helped keep Star Trek alive. Absolutely, absolutely, Christian. Yes. If only, and then just the reverse for the Kelvin universe. It was the visuals that helped out, not the stories. Hey, Stephen, you love TAS. Used to push back when people insisted it was canon. Oh, love it now, present. You used to push back, but then you fell in love with it, and now you defend it and its canonicity until your dying breath. See how that happens? See how that happens? I just remember all the people who could not stand DS9 back in the day. Yes. And an Enterprise TAS. Oh, absolutely. I have a feeling now that they've got to finish off everything. What Enterprise episode should they anatomize? Yeah. Should they tassify? Star Trek. Yes. Oh, it wants to make an emoji with the 8 in parentheses. Okay, we'll let it go. A TAS version of Trials and Tribulations. Well, that's almost a... Okay, he'll have to do both. I'll have to do everything. Oh, could we just like not talk about Trouble with Edward for a while? It was just, as much as I preach idic, that's of all the Star Trek souls I've ever encountered, that was the most viscerally wincing. And it wasn't him and his sense of humor. It was just putting it all in a Starfleet guise. And then the cereal at the end was... The cereal commercial at the end was an end credit scene. I know. Cisco Ducat's climactic fight in the fire caves, or Cisco punching Q, but it moves along so fast. It's so fast. Why, thank you. Thank you, Christian. I just thought of it myself. Well, that's an idea, Dan. That's a total idea, especially if there's I know somewhere in the documentary they're going to talk about Threshold as a mini, both in the moment and what it's come to represent. Right. So yeah, they could use that animated clip as one more little grace note for talking about that chapter. No, Captain Calvin, what would you like to see in animation style? The Coda book trilogy or the complete universe? That's not going to happen. You don't have near enough of a... Yeah, it won't go... Excuse me, it won't go viral. You won't have enough of a collected fan base to get into it. Excuse me. The downer in Voyager is when the clones solely... The silver blood aliens? Yeah. Yes. Well, and Tuvix. Yes. I've got to say, I'm just totally amazed at the reaction to Tuvix. I mean, I get it. And after 20 or 30 years, I get it. But at the time, it was like, well, of course she's going to reintegrate him. That's what you do. You reintegrate Good Bad Kirk. You reintegrate Klingon and human B'Elanna. You reintegrate, or you deintegrate to get Tuvix and Neelix back. Of course. The show moves along. I did not get my head was locked into TV, whatever, not its real life story. So we don't need to revisit the Tuvox debate here, aside from saying I was just, but then I'm shocked that 40 years later, 45 years later, people are still watching Star Wars. I Not that it's not worth watching, but it's that it's a franchise. Not a franchise for 2 or 3 or 5 years, but or not a franchise that had a hot 5 years and then was fallow and then came back 15 years later and had a hot 5 years and then went away and then maybe is coming back. That's the normal cycle, especially when all you had was 2, 4, 6 hours to start with. Yes, purple triples. For once, I've been on before 10 p.m. Well, it's my pleasure, Rose. I usually try to make it before 10 p.m. Yes, Course Oblivion is a real. I haven't watched it in a long time, but absolutely. We just melt away like a leaf on the wind. There you go. See, we have all kinds of downer episodes to ha-ha-ha-ify. Patreon. Oh, cool. Thank you. Oh, you did? Wow. Yay. Okay. What are you saying here, Stephen? The ending of Strange New Worlds episode 7 had you jumping up and down and screaming uncontrollably. Are you sure you want the power of the screener, Stephen? I wasn't sure if they would ever be that bold. Well, is it a matter of bold or is it a matter of like looking under the stack of books for that scrap of paper that's underneath? That's the way it strikes me. It's like there are so many nooks and crannies of Star Trek that you could go visit. It's like, is it really make sense for the story, or are you doing it just to be wackadoodle? And I have total faith it'll be for the story. It's like, well, I'll see your George Samuel Kirk and raise you 500 quatlus. Yeah, I was smiling all night. I was just like, okay. Hey, Melanie, will I ever come back to Modesto? Graffiti Con is coming up June 26th. I will go anywhere they invite me. As Will once said, you better not invite me if you don't want me to come, or something like that. I'd love to come back to Modesto. Was that where I was? It was Modesto, right? Yeah, it was called Modesto Con. Has it been renamed, rebranded? But there's 1 or 2 Starfleet chapters there. That's you, I know. But did we meet when I was at Modesto Con in, what was that, 2016? In the 50th? Glenn, I am so glad you got unstuck from your meetings. Yay. Well, don't worry about the end of this. What you need to do is catch the end of episode 7. What now? Mark, how many members? No idea. 1 less now. I used to be, but not anymore. Yes, I know the line well. What do you? I've lost the setup for this. Maybe okay. I'm sure you'll pop it in here or something. You've just been sent an exclusive screener, so you need to beam up soon. Well, don't let me keep you from your exclusive screeners. I wonder if there you are on the things. Okay. That is for Thursday. Oh, sorry. Sorry, gang. Don't ever go look in your emails. Okay. Glenn, you're going to be at LateCon. Yes, which is later in the year. Here we go. Which Enterprise would be good for animation? Maybe the Terra Prime stuff. Yeah, I was. The cheap one would be the Vulcan vampires, zombies. Im, not impressions. What is that called? Yes. You saw the Janeway and Parrots lizards in the archive. They were sticky. Yeah, because the material is breaking down. Yes, 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 yes. They need to stabilize that chemical, the foam they made them with. This is what I thought. Tom Paris now with detachable tongue. Yes. Oh, Andrew, you can't talk her into celebrating your 15-year anniversary at STLV. You can't fudge a day or two, and it's Vegas, man. It's at Bally's. You could do the whole, terrace for the Geek Nation tours. He has a detached thing. Yes. Yes.
Are you still on?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to make you aware of the time. You have to get your hair done.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I'm well aware. I'm leaving by 3. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought your appointment was at 3.
No, it's at 3:30.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me close. I can't close the door.
It's okay. Oh, it happened. Yeah. Alrighty. Yes, we are live. We'll do it live. Anyway, good luck with that. But don't do anything, too disastrous. Something that's already kind of weird. Yes. Oh, Rose, you're on one Zoom. I have no idea. Have you looked at now they're down, but have you looked at Marina's list that she keeps everywhere? Marina Kravchuk, she keeps a virtual events list, and they're out there. Actual question, Susan. You're going to make me think. Kate said she's open to returning as Admiral Janeway in one series or another. I'm taking it we mean live action. Where do you think she could fit in? Well, she could certainly bop into Picard. That would be the obvious one. She could certainly be, a one-off memory thing, hologram, whatever, in Lower Decks. What would we say? Here? Prodigy might be a good fit for her. We've better run through all the shows. What's left but Strange and Discovery? Or a 7th one that I haven't mentioned. I don't know. It's it's there. You'll be at Sooner or Later Con. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Warp 10, that reminds you when Maverick passed Mach 10. Don't ask me about filming the scenes. Yeah. What about the Mirror Universe episodes? Yeah, but they're already kind of wacky special enough. I don't know. We should think. For Enterprise animated, something like One Night in Sick Bay. One Night in Sick Bay sounds like a candidate. I don't know. About 90? There we go. Hey, 98.3. It's good to have you back again. Hey, 98. Oh, 101 in Chicago. See, the Midwest and the Northeast on heat waves is horrible because you guys don't have the infrastructure for that extreme heat. They opened the fire hydrants for kids, and I mean that's the old thing. I don't know. We're in a drought. Well, we're in a drought. And I heard it was pouring on the east, or at least around DC and through the Mid-Atlantic. Yeah. Okay. Well, we got the Fahrenheit metric system, centigrade or Celsius, I guess. It's not centigrade anymore, isn't it? They named it. Yeah. Oh. You're reminding me of reminding me of Life Support Live Saturday mornings. Wow, you're 55 in Seattle, Matt? Okay. It just refuses to not rain in Seattle. Have you guys ever had a drought? Mm. Yeah, deep in the heart of Texas. Absolutely. Not to be confused with that ridiculous, oops, is Steven still on? That ridiculous fight song for Texas. The ass of Texas is upon you. Oh, I'm sorry. The eyes of Texas are upon you. Looking at all those hints from guys with screener access and at P plus not started here, maybe we should all become journalists. I'm sorry, Christoph. I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it, and everybody piled on. Let's have a moment here for all of our European folks who are still a week away from getting the first 3 episodes and no catch up. You'll just be eternally 5 behind on season 1. Now, moving forward, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh my gosh. On brightest day or darkest night, bum, 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 no evil shall escape my sight. Oh, it's Darkwing Duck. Right. No, let's not put Darkwing Duck through the Deep in the Eyes of Texas blender. Sorry I ever said a word. Okay, well, we got the national weather report from everybody, the global weather report. We're somewhere between CNN and BBC. Yes, if you're going to send anything anybody's way, please send the rain this way, okay? And Glenn, on a completely unrelated note from before your sun burned hot in space, you were watching Shorely the other day, and when Finnegan said he was still 20, I had to laugh out loud because Bruce Mars looked like he was at least in his mid-30s, if not pushing 40. Oh, it's just that horrible pancake makeup they used in the 60s. Ooh, you've gone to the Kelvin universe, Christoph. I'm so sorry. There you go. Lots of clips on Spencer for Hire on YouTube. They do a $sign Spencer. Well, he was a private gun, private eye, private. So, Spencer for Hire, Spencer : for Hire. So we're trying to come up with a different title for yet another detective show. What can I say? Oh, the Kelvin scale does not use a degree sign. Ooh, it's just 300K. I'm sorry, that'd be 300,000, which would not be a bad thing if that hit me. Okay, now we're into Pee Wee. Now we're into okay. Yes. Okay, weather. Favorite Trek actor on another show, Mission Impossible, Leonard Nimoy as Paris. Well, Melanie, you go back to that. I know I've watched 1 or 2 of his, but I saw Mission at the tail end of the run. I didn't get what the big deal was. To me, it was just yet another crime drama mystery thing. And I didn't, when I was a kid, I did not go. TJ Hooker rocked. Yeah. Yes. Jimmy Darren's in that. Did you hear? Was there a series, The Brothers Karamazov? I knew it was a movie. A Shatner Barbara Eden movie. Yeah, I think I thought the original question was series, not movies. Otherwise, movies we can think of a ton across all the worlds. I just started watching Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap's a wonderful tour de force acting role for Scott. It was, Mr. Theater Man, a musical guy. It's perfect for him and all of his talents. And Dean Stockwell's great in it. And for them to make that concept work when Ziggy is not even really part of the actual action. Very much so. It's fun to see Star Trek actors on other shows like Bonanza, like Gunsmoke, like Perry Mason, my personal favorite. Quantum Leap easily. Well, there you go. Certainly a lead role, lead to lead and long. Save opinion questions for Zoomy Chatty thing. There you go. True. I've never seen Hell on Wheels, but I'm this close to now going back to watching at least the pilot and maybe something for Colum and Anson now. Yeah. Okay. Plenty of Trek actors were in Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis. Yes, I just never wanted to bog my brain down with the Stargate universe once it got to be so big. I saw the movie. I just never. I know. Shoot me. I had enough brain capacity to take on Star Trek exploding at the time and trying to keep up with it, which it's doing now. My God, what if we did have 26 episodes? Well, we wouldn't have 5 different casts and creators. That's part of it. We've unleashed this Pandora's box of a different cast and a different lineup of creators, different prop people, different makeup designers, different stunt coordinators, different everything. Yes. Oh, the 911 show with Shatner? Yeah, there's that. Was Anson Mount in a vampire show or Superman in a werewolf show? I don't. Whew. Excuse me, gang. I had an early morning meeting today. Hopefully some changes for Portal 47 eventually. That not big changes, but the most exciting kind, business and process changes. Kept expecting Captain Archer to leap. I know. And I thought the Dean Stockwell reunion episode, the prison show, was just detained, whatever it was just a total waste. They totally wasted the opportunity. I felt bad for Dean Stockwell and Scott that they didn't do more with it. Oh, Cairo, so you got your results. It's positive, but with a CT value just high enough that it counts for ending your quarantine. So it shows you with lingering COVID percent, but enough to end your quarantine. Well, good. Yay. Now here's an idea. Instead of animating live action Trek, can we make Lower Decks alive? What would Lower Decks look like 24/7 in live action? Could they really be that manic and pull it off? Could the senior staff be over the top and pull it off? I don't know. What is this now? I missed the setup. Hold on. Maybe I did. The fan group on Facebook, the admin in the group answered that they didn't know, and I responded with a Captain Picard facepalm gif. Your response was removed, and they revoked your ability to post any responses. And then you sent them a message, deleted your post, left the group, and blocked them. And I missed the beginning of this. Okay. Any reanimated DS9 would of course need Jeff Combs. No, well, I would hope so. He could probably voice the entire cast. Just hire Jeff Combs. It's kind of like having the animated series, having Jimmy do all the voices they didn't otherwise need. Yeah, just have Jeff do all the voices, and the women too. Aliens, everything filtered through a screen. Yeah. The logical. Yes. Because if you ever have a genie and get 3 wishes, your first wish should be, I want endless wishes. Absolutely. Does any Trek count if without Jeff Combs and Vaughn Armstrong appearing? No, it does not. This is why we have had to decanonize the entire original series. Yeah, I missed the drama setup to this, so maybe somebody can repeat it if it's worth wasting time on. Oh, Tuvix was too boring to live. Okay. Off with their board heads. Off with their board heads. Alrighty then. You're inviting me to your concert on June 26th. I can set up in the lobby. I'm totally lost here. I'm totally lost. But I am going to need to get to the end of the chat here in a bit. Didn't see potential. Okay. I was distracted by a shiny. Yes, a shiny called my better half, if it's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, Zahir, you got it. You picked it up. Neck alert. Actually, to be fair, she was reminding me that I have a tight schedule getting out of here. You want a live streamed hair app. Okay, this is what gets you to pop up? This is what gets you to pop up? Yeah, right. If I do that, then I'm like next door. Then I'm like one step away from a stupid reality show. When I watch some of the house remodel people, those twin sisters doing part of their show from their beauty salon, having their hair done, like really, a little too much reality TV. Yes, don't worry, it's gonna get there. Thank you though. My hair appointment. Yes, I have a new wave coming in. We're going to just need to trim the mountain man. It's still not like it was in the pandemic. Good Lord, what do we do? Go 6 months? Trimming around the edges a little bit. Janeway could be on the new Stargazer series. Why, sure. She could even phone it in if she wasn't there in person. Janeway needs to show up in The Mandalorian. Yeah, okay. You still open the Pirates in Chicago. I just think of that as a Chicago, New York thing to do. It's raining in Florida, but it's always raining in Florida. And if it's not raining, it's humiditying in Florida. I love these people that compare California and Florida. And I'm like, okay, so you both have an Orange County with a Disney, but there's no humidity inside. Well, there's usually no humidity. It's creeping in, but it sure ain't get off the plane and wonder why I came here. This is why I got out of my home place. Here we go, Christoph. Thank you for doing this. GalaxyCon. Here you go, Rose. GalaxyCon has a DS9 panel, which are free, and then the upsells if you want autographs and things. I think they're yes. Okay, there you go. Rose, I think if you look right there, you could get that. You can get the tag for it. Okay. The mirror universe is too far out of phase for anyone to cross over. Yes, absolutely. What am I saying, Nadim? I promise it will be fine for Europeans to go forward with respect to P+. What do you mean that I'm meaning? What am I saying here? Oh, there you go. Your Green Lantern was confused with your Darkwing Duck. Yes. Or something. Or something. Maybe Spencer for Hire was Cisco's holodeck adventure. Okay, Rusty, you won the internet today. That's funny. Okay, everybody. Yes, everybody talking about Leonard as the Great Paris. It's too bad Rob McNeil couldn't have been the Great Spock in the reboot of Boston Legal. You got Seven and Shatner, or Shatner anyway, and Renee in part of it. Yep. What do we got here? Nobody jumped in on my Barbary Coast. That's too obscure for everybody, I guess. Yeah. Yep. Thank you about the Perry Mason is one of my guilty pleasures and addictions. I can sit and watch the same damn formula show over and over again. And I'm always comparing. Oh, that's so because it's such a blueprint of the late 50s, early 60s. Such a crossover time. They ended in the spring of 66, just in time for Star Trek to be all in color. Okay, what do we got going, gang? I really am going to have to get out of here and do the wrap. Okay, we're analyzing Stargate. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we're going to post-mortem Stargate here. And, oh. Gotcha, gang. Okay, well, I'm sorry about the German DST fan group. That's interesting. Yes. Okay. I need a Bolian barber. They're bald, but they make excellent barbers. Yes, yes. It's just bizarre. I hope they're capturing. See, I cannot believe when I moved here and they didn't have reservoirs to capture runoff for drought times. I'm not organic, but just man-made tanks, just big water tanks. I don't understand. Yeah. Yes, Boom. I see you talking about Tuvix, Glenn, but I've got to wrap it up. Where did I get the Borg shirt? Everybody calls this a Borg shirt. It's a quasi Hawaiian-ish thing, but it's my coolest shirt for hot days that doesn't sweat. No, I said after Strange New Worlds season 1 finishes. After that, you'll be caught up. Hopefully, everything will be simultaneous around the world after that. That's coming to the U. That's what I meant. Yes. Thanks for everybody right at the end of the chat. Yes, we are. Yeah. The Borg shirt. All right, kids. Hey, once again, thanks for being with us today. Once again, thanks to all of our Patreons. I'll have to do a new sign next week. Thanks a lot, Matt. Thanks a lot, guys. If you want to jump on like Matt did today, it's patreon.com/Trekland Live. Appreciate that all over the place. Once again, if you are Vegas bound and you can get there a day early, love to have you. The geeknationtours.com one-day Valley of Fire or Kirk Memorial Tour, as I call it, on Wednesday, August 24th, back in time to enjoy the night. August 20th and 21st is our Great Birds Origins Tour. Go to LarryNemechuk.com. There is a bar with all 4 of the next year and a half's different sizes, different scales of tour. The big one in July of 2023, once again, finally, with Geek Nation Tours, the one-day Vegas, this, and the tours before, a day tours around LA for all the cruisers the day before they disembark, which may threaten to blow up on me if I don't watch out. I don't know how I'd handle 200 people, but we'll work on it. Of course, the Trek Files is out over at Trek Files on Facebook or wherever you catch your pods. The great Mike Westmore is back. We're talking about running a makeup department based on a memo about Nichelle Nichols' eyelashes and fingernails. A Bob Justman memo deluxe from the 60s. Anyway, go check us out on the Trek Files for all you Trekophiles spelled with an F. And yes, I'm Larry Nemechuk on Twitter and Larry Nemechuk's Trekland everywhere else. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, even if you don't YouTube. And portal47.net if you want to deep dive with us. Whoosh. Thanks again, guys. I've got to get out of here and get rid of this edition of the Mountain Man and have a cooler head of hair to boot. So everybody, please take it easy out there. Stay healthy. Do all the things. Stay woke. Check the sources. And don't forget the end of episode 7 on Strange New Worlds. If you don't, if you do, then you will definitely. Trek well, everybody. We'll see you next time. Next week on Monday.